All right, welcome back, everybody. I got a question the other day from someone that it was a good question, and I thought about it a little bit. It was, how can I protect my pet from seasonal allergies? Again, one of my earlier questions, we had talked about allergies and some of those common symptoms. Seasonal allergies. Again, when I think of those, I think of mostly spring and fall. You got everything blooming. Trees, grass, weeds, leaves, all that stuff in the spring, everything and falling off the trees and releasing all those allergens in the fall. Of course, in your heart of the summer, you get your goldenrod and all those weed pollens that happen middle of the way through. So, of course, we are in probably the worst part of the country for allergies. The Ohio River Valley is probably a dermatologist's dream. So, sorry about that for everybody if your dog has allergies. So, how can I protect my pet from allergies? I think when I first heard that question, my thought was, how should I prevent seasonal allergies? I don't know that there's an answer to that one. Seasonal allergies is something that, if you want to prevent it, you need to move to Arizona or Florida. So, and I'll, call me up. Maybe I'll try to go with you. So, but, it's hard to prevent seasonal allergies because they're environmental. Your dogs they literally are breathing them in. So, of course you can do things like, keeping your filters clean in your house, changed regularly. But the reality is you walk in and out of your house in the middle of spring, pollens are coming in the house. Most of your dogs are going to be in and out, leash walked. Cats tend to not have as much of an issue. They do have allergies, don't get me wrong, but because cats tend to be more indoors, so maybe not as exposed. Protecting from seasonal allergies, I think that question maybe is hard to answer because of the word protect. I think with seasonal allergies, it's more about being aware of what the issue is. So knowing what it is and knowing that it's allergies, and so that you can react to it sooner than later. What I mean by that is, most dogs with allergies are going to start chewing, licking their feet, scratching, itching, chewing their legs. It could be fleas, but it's probably not fleas. Most time it's just seasonal allergies, especially if they did it last year at the same time of year. So if catching that earlier, because I see so many dogs that come in with ear infections, yeast infections, skin infections, what we call pododermatitis, which is foot infections in between the webbing of their feet, and that just makes everything worse. So a lot of times I tell people, if you can see those symptoms and catch it early, get them on some medication, especially during those windows of times when that things are pollinating. Because most things are going to pollinate for 2 to 4 weeks, and then they're going to move out of the system. So sometimes you can get them on those meds as they're starting with the chewing feet, itching, scratching. A lot of times they won't get those secondary issues like the ear infections, foot infections, skin infections, because that's what drives them crazy. They go from 0 to 60 when they get that secondary bacterial infection. So I don't know that there's a way to prevent without. Dermatologists can do what are called desensitization therapy, where they will actually give allergy shots like once a week, but that is a whole protocol where they come in and they test the dog for allergies. They test them for all the different allergens in the environment, and they formulate actual vials that you give at home once a week, and that can desensitize the immune system. That's definitely available. We don't do that here at PetWow. Dermatologists locally can do that. It's very expensive. Most people aren't going to do that for just a seasonal allergy pet. We usually just treat them with medication as needed. So it's more about knowing what those signs are. When they itch and scratch, chew and dig, call your vet, ask them for a refill or come see us, get an exam, you get a diagnosis, and a lot of times we can get you meds as needed. Again, there are some over-the-counter medications like Claritin, Tavus, some of those different medications that we can also talk about. They're safe. They're just oftentimes not as effective as some of our prescription medications. So anyhow, I hope that helps answer kind of a really common problem that we see in vet medicine, and enjoy the rest of your day.